they're going to erupt. They're going to bust loose. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to bust loose. They're a powder keg juggernaut. Okay.
Average Joe conversation with average guys. Tyler and Wes with Walk the Plank.
Welcome back to another episode of Walk the Plank Sports. This is boy Tyler coming at you live. Before we get started, I just wanted to give, tell y'all to, like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, visit our webpage at www.walktheplanksports.com. Go check us out on there. It's got all of our content, all the articles we've written, all the videos we've done, and the podcast. So if you can't watch us, there's iTunes podcast and then Podomatic podcast for the non-iPhone users. So check us out on there. You can get all the last episodes, the first episode, the fourth episode, whatever episode you want to listen to or watch. It's on there, and all the articles, recruiting, and predictions, and all kind of other stuff on there. So share us with your friends on Facebook. Tell them to go like us on Facebook, and then follow us on Twitter at WalkThePlank0. WalkThePlank0. Add us on there, follow us, tweet at us if you've got any questions or want us to talk about anything. On Facebook you can comment on us, or on Twitter. So share us with your friends, and follow us and like us and all that good stuff. I'll value any new follower, listener, as well as the old, and the ones that have followed us from the beginning, or even if it's just 1 week. I thank you. But today I want to talk about the SEC tournament. I think it played more into the hands of one certain team than it did the others. I'm not sure why that is, but we'll get more into that. Also, conference is it USA? I think it's Conference USA for Southern Miss. They won that tournament. Art Briles was fired this past week. Ole Miss got their NOA and released their response. Augie Guerrero stepped down. Or 2 days. It was yesterday or 2 days ago. I can't remember. We'll see. We'll talk about his replacement. Alabama fired their baseball coach yesterday. So we'll talk about who that replacement may be. And I just learned Uncle Vern from CBS, who does the 2:30 game on CBS, is going to step down after this football season, which is sad for me because I like Uncle Vern, but he'll step down after this season. And also going to look ahead to the Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Southern Miss regionals. So and kind of get an idea of what these teams are up against in the NCAA tournament. But let's go back to Augie Guerrero stepping down. I've heard that they will be in contact with the Vanderbilt coach. I don't think he goes. I think the new Texas coach will probably be, if I'm hearing correctly, will be the guy from Louisville. He came from Ole Miss. He's brought Louisville up from nothing, really. I think it'd be him. And Bama, I'm not really sure. Maybe the South Alabama coach. I'm not real sure. This is all new, so I'll get more into that, look more into it as time goes on, and probably give you more next week. And they may even have a hiree, at least at Alabama next week. I don't think Texas. But I'm sorry. Paul Feinbaum's on the TV, and they're saying Baylor's even in more trouble. Have more things come out today against Baylor. But anyway, like I was saying, next week we'll probably have a better idea on who Texas will hire, and then Alabama may have a hiree. I'm not sure. Depends on how the regionals go. They may both still be open. There are several names that can be in. I know Bama wants the Vandy coach bad. I just don't think Bama's going to get him. Bama's not Bama in baseball like they are in football. Any coach would flock to Bama pretty much in football, but not the same in baseball. They're not the capstone as they claim they are in football. And they're not the capstone either in baseball, so whatever. But like I said, USM wins conference tournament. They're going to go to the Tallahassee Regional Gainesville. Florida fans will come for that. Tallahassee, Florida for the Florida State Regional. The number 2 seed. Let me see who the... Actually, I'll look into that a little bit later. If you follow college baseball at all, you would have known that Ole Miss and LSU were fighting for the final national seed spot, which went to LSU. I don't understand why, because a lot of the metrics pointed toward Ole Miss, and Ole Miss had the head-to-head. I know LSU finished hotter, according to the experts, but look who they played compared to Ole Miss. And they both went out at the same time in the SEC tournament. If I was on the committee, the big thing for me would have been the Louisville win. early in the season for Ole Miss. Or that was just, I don't know. That's just me, maybe. Maybe it's, I don't know. But anyway, if I was on the committee, I would, instead of going 1 through 8 seeds, I would do 1 through 16. And I go 1 verse 16, 2 verse 15, 3 verse 14, and so on and so forth. Which would be, Florida versus Virginia, which I think be a heck of a, super regional if they both made it through the regional. Then Louisville versus TCU, another super regional. That's 2 and 15. Miami versus ULL, which could be a fun one to watch. Texas A&M versus FSU. Texas Tech versus North Carolina State. Mississippi State versus Vanderbilt. That's a rematch, I know, and it probably wouldn't be that great of a super regional. But, hey, MSU fans, you probably win that one again versus Vandy. Clemson versus South Carolina, so that's a regional match right there that the NCAA likes. And then LSU Ole Miss. And I know it's the same in conference, just like Vandy and State, but, again, it's that regional match as the NCAA likes. And the way I got these seeds, I just kind of went by what I've read and I've heard. I know Ole Miss had to be the 9 seed because they were right there, a coin flip with LSU for that last, number 8 spot in the national seed. And those, the 9 through 16 are just the regional, just regional host, not the super seed, but just a regional host. But I think a lot of those are, would be great matchups. I would be interested in Florida versus Virginia too. Augie, 2 great coaches. Louisville, TCU, I don't know. But, it would be a good matchup. I think Louisville will take that in 2 games. So, Miami, ULL could be interesting. Texas A&M and FSU would be awesome to watch. Texas Tech versus North Carolina State. That could be a pretty good one to watch. I don't see why Texas Tech is in the national seed. I think, in my opinion, if you give the 8 best teams those seeds, I don't think Texas Tech is one of the 8 best teams. But, it is what it is. And then State versus Vandy, which we've already seen once this year. State won 2 out of 3 at Vandy, but this time Vandy would come to Starkville. South Carolina Clemson, I think they've played 3 times. I think Clemson's won twice, if I'm not mistaken. And then, like I said, Ole Miss and LSU, I'd be a heck of a super regional in Baton Rouge. I know Ole Miss fans will travel. LSU fans would be excited about it. Ole Miss beat them 2 or 3 in Oxford. So let's turn around and go back to Baton Rouge and see how that turns out there. I think that'd be a fun regional to watch. I know TV ratings would be high for all of these games, or all these series, I should say, and the attendance would also be sky high too, I believe. But it is what it is. It's the way they've got it now. They've got Starkville and Oxford have regionals, and like I said earlier, that Southern Miss goes to Tallahassee. But I'm gonna take a break real quick, and we'll get back into it, and we're gonna dive right into these regionals and look team by team. We all know about our in-state teams, but I'm gonna look, team by team at the other teams and give you a prediction on the regional. Who off the plank thinks it's gonna take that regional. So be back in a minute. Peace.
Walk the plank.
Welcome back. All right, let's dive right into it. Mississippi State, the number 6 overall seed. You got Cal State Fullerton, La Tech, and Southeast Missouri State. From the RPI standpoint, which if you watch any of the show, I harp on RPI. It's the stat that makes the other stats work. It's the main one. It's the most important one. You take RPI out, you don't have anything. But anyway, let's dive right into it. State is going to face Southeast Missouri State right off the bat. They've got a .310 batting average, so they can swing the bats pretty well. But their ace, this is the big thing for State fans you've got to look for. Their ace has a 1.87 ERA. That's earned run average, which if you don't follow baseball, earned run average is how many runs on average you would allow in a 9-inning game, which baseball is 9 innings, so per game. And their next best pitcher is 3.91. So the team ERA is 3.86. They don't feel it too well at all. It was 0.822. They're a decent fielding team, but if you hit them the ball enough, they're gonna mess it up. And say if they can, find their bats. I know in the SEC tournament they won versus Alabama using a guy who hadn't pitched in a while, but they used their 2 best pitchers versus Florida and LSU. And Florida run rule. I think, LSU run ruled them. No, what am I doing right? No, they faced LSU in the winners bracket, lost to them in a low scoring game. So that's their ace is gone, and then went to the losers bracket and faced Florida, who run ruled them. I don't know if that's just a bad matchup for Mississippi State, but if I was a State fan, I'd be kind of worried going into regional play because your pitching's kind of letting off and your hitting's kind of cooling off. And like I said, I don't know if it's just a matchup or what, but facing Southeast Missouri State in that, right off the bat with that pitcher with 1.87 ERA, that's gonna be tough. If they can get through that, they would probably face Cal State Fullerton. Here's another team that can pitch it. They've got several guys. They got 4 guys with a sub-2 ERA. Dylan Prohorf has a .069. I'll say that again. .069 ERA. That's saying he allows less than half a run a game, and that is amazing. They're not really a hitting team, but if those pitchers can keep them in the game long enough for them to get that key hit or two to prevail them to a win. This regional is not going to be easy for Mississippi State at all. I don't see them making out of this regional. I mean, especially if their bats are cooled off, their pitching is cooled off. I don't see them making out of it. They're going to have to get hot again and get some big hits and have their pitchers come on again, because this is a real tough regional. It's probably the toughest in the SEC, maybe the toughest in the nation. Well, I'm not going to say toughest in the nation. I say the Tallahassee regional is the toughest in the nation, but in the SEC, I think it very well could be the toughest. And if I was a State fan, being a national seed, I wouldn't like that at all. And I don't get it. Again, I don't get it. But that's what the committee gave you. But if they should fall into the losers bracket, I would say La Tech would be the next team they face. And they've got 2 guys with a sub ERA. Adam Atkins has a 1.1 ERA, and Casey Sutton has a 1.6. After those 2, the best ERA is 3.11, and it goes down. Actually, gets higher from there. It just gets worse. But I mean, if they have an off night and lose one, I don't think they have the pitching come out of it. I know you think you found a 4th starter. The way he played, I can't remember his name now. The way he pitched versus Alabama SEC tournament. But maybe, but we'll see. It's just a tough regional to be in. I think it would be probably Cal State Fullerton and La Tech in the final for that regional. Sorry, State, I just don't see it. It's tough, and you look like you're slumping. The next regional to go to, Ole Miss, and here's my gripe. Again, we go back to LSU, Ole Miss. Flip a coin. Either or could have been a national seed. Ole Miss beat them 2 of 3 in the regular season. Ole Miss finished the same or went the same distance in the SEC tournament. Ole Miss had majority of better metrics than LSU did. The reason the committee said they picked LSU for that 8th spot is because they looked to be most unbeatable right now. They had a hotter ending. Well, I mean, look who you played. You played a lot of no-name teams, and Ole Miss finished with the number 2, 1, depending on what poll you look at, team of the nation, and easily could have beat them if it wasn't for an error in the first game. I think it was 2 outs. Ole Miss had a 3-run lead, and this is Ole Miss. This is on you because you lost this seed. If you don't commit that error, and I think in the 6th inning, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 7th. You had that 6-run inning, and you probably win that game and go on to finish 4th in the SEC, which would have wrapped up the a top 4 seed in a day off and start the SEC tournament. Instead, you made that error, allowed 6 more runs to pass. Excuse me, and you lost the game. You lost the series at Texas A&M, which would have been a huge again RPI boost for you. And then Saturday, 5 outs to go. Ole Miss fans, you know all about the 5 outs to go, don't you? And that was painful too. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube, and it's 5 outs away from Omaha. What's that? If you don't know what I'm referring to, but I'm sure most Ole Miss fans do. But again, had a three-run lead, and you've got your best pitcher on in relief with a couple guys on base, and they score 7 runs, 1 inning, lose the game. Win either one of those, that locks up your national seed. So, I mean, you had the chance to lock it up. You left it in the hands of the committee. If there's any doubt, you just got to win and win and win. And then versus Texas A&M, I think they're the best team in the nation. I think they win the College World Series this year. I don't see any team that's better than them. But when you play Texas A&M, you better look to add runs any way you can. I don't care if you're up 11 in the ninth. You better make sure you got 15, because those bats are some of the best. This is probably the best hitting team I've ever seen. It's amazing what they can do. But unless you had your chance, I think they get to LSU because it had the name on the jersey. And I mean, it was like I feel like Ole Miss was throwing darts in a dark room and trying to hit the board with all the metrics they kept claiming that, Ole Miss needed. And once Ole Miss met that metric, they went to something else. So it is what it is. You got a regional. You'll be in Oxford this weekend. Beer showers should be everywhere. So, I mean, we'll see. I think Ole Miss, if their pitching stays on and their hitting can keep high like it has the last couple of weeks, I think they can make a serious run. What am I trying to say? And then you go back to Wyatt Short, who's Ole Miss's closer. He only pitched 10 pitches, I believe, combined, or 10 pitches to the game before, which is 2 days before that. 2 days before Ole Miss got eliminated in the SEC tournament. But after warming up, you might as well pitch 40, 50, 60 pitches, because, I mean, you toss and throw and stretch and toss and throw and stretch and toss. So that's why I think Ole Miss, he gave up that home run and all those runs, because your other two big closures, they weren't available. They pitched a lot of 2 days before, or a day before, or whatever, and they didn't have the arms to keep going. And Mike Bianco is not going to abuse those pitchers, knowing that the bigger pitchers out, they've already wrapped up a hosting site, and you're borderline for a national seed. But I'm going to take a break for a second. I've kind of lost train of thought into that segment, my bad. Take a break for a second and come back. We're down right into the Ole Miss regional, the Oxford regional, and we'll go from there. Peace.
Walk the plane.
What's up? I'm back. This might be an extended show because I got so much information to talk about, and you got 10 minutes left supposedly, but I may extend this episode and just go from there. But anyway, let's jump into the Ole Miss regional, the Oxford regional. You got Ole Miss, number 1 seed, Tulane, number 2 seed, which scares me. Boston College, blah. And then Utah, who's the best 4 seed in the whole regional, in my opinion. They've got a true ace in Jason Rose. He's got a 2.62 ERA. He's pitched 103 innings, so he's pitched a ton of innings. They've got several bad losses, though. They've got, Houston Baptist. Who is Houston Baptist? St. Mary's and Utah Valley, just to name a few. Their team ERA, though, once you get past that ace, their team ERA kind of, skyrockets. But if you allow them to score 6+ runs, they were 18-2. So Ole Miss pitching has to be on. And I know their bats are hot right now, but their pitching has to stay on. And if they're up after 6 innings, they're 17-0. But if they're down after 6 innings, they're right now 5-25. But they're also 10-13 away from home. So Ole Miss, just their bats have to stay hot. They really do. And as long as they can keep hitting, they should easily win that game. I don't know. That game at first scared me as an Ole Miss fan, but the more I looked into it, the more there's not. Once you get past that pitcher, it's not anything to really fret about. The team that scares me in this regional is Tulane, and we'll get into them. The Green Wave, they've got really good starting pitching. They really do. Their bullpen, so it's nothing to really worry about for an Ole Miss fan. Corey Miller, though, he's a guy that I think got hurt last year, and he could really eat up some innings for you. or for Tulane, that is, if he's on. If he's not, I mean, he's up and down, left and right. You don't know what you're going to get from him. But if he's on, he can give you trouble. And Tulane, they've got their home run ball. They kind of remind me of ULL of 2 years ago. They're always looking for the extra base hitter home run. So you got to keep them in a plus count, which means pitcher's count, which is like, one strike, 0 balls, 1 strike, or 1 ball and 2 strikes, or 0 ball and 2 strikes. Because if they get you in a hitter's count, which is 2-0, 2 balls, 0 strikes, or it's going to be 2 balls and a strike, or 3 balls and 0 strikes, or 3 balls and 1 strike, they're going to make you pitch the pitch they want, and they can hammer it. So our pitchers have to stay on, stay focused, and stay precise, because we cannot, allow them to get those counts and absolutely just hammer the ball. But if we get past there, if Ole Miss can get past there, they can easily win that regional. Because I just don't see another team other than Tulane that can play with them. Boston College, their team batting average is .266, but their ace. This is the thing about Tulane though, and Ole Miss could see Boston College in the second game because their main guy has a 1.35 ERA. And like I said in the first segment, or second segment, ERAs, earned run average, it's just the average amount of runs that particular person or team allows or gives up in one game in 9 innings. And they, is an average. You know how to do average. And they field at 970. So it's a decent fielding team. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. But they do have 2 guys that can pitch really well. And after that, again, their ERAs go up. They really do. And like I said, if you hit the ball at them, they're going to mess it up. I think Ole Miss wins this regional. It may be a 3-2 game come Friday night, or 2-1. And just if Ole Miss can keep getting timely hits. If not, they could be in trouble also. And the committee, the selection committee didn't. The state of Mississippi no favors at all with these selections. Probably 3 of the top or toughest regionals in the tournament. But I think Ole Miss does get through this regional just because they're hitting. I think they'll hit their way through this regional, and there's not a team in this regional that can out-hit them. Let's go straight into the Florida State regional. This is the regional I think that it's a toss-up. I think anybody can win this regional. Alabama State, they hit very well, and they have a sub-2 ERA guy, and just above, I think, a 2.04 ERA guy. And if you allow them to hit, those pitchers can shut you down, and Florida State could be in trouble. And they didn't have to do Florida State any favors either. I think the 2 easiest regionals I saw was LSU and Florida, I think it was. I know Florida was one of them. LSU might have been the other one. I looked at this yesterday, actually. But Southern Miss, if you get some pitching and timely hits, you could very easily win this. But the damn part about winning this one, you've got to stay in Florida and go to Florida, who's the number one overall seed. Florida State. Let's talk about Florida State. How about we do that? They're a decent hitting team, but the Seminoles have really good pitching. Really good pitching. If you watch the ACC championship game, they're known to bobble the ball a little bit. I mean, the first batter, I think it was, hit shortstop. Guy hit it right to the shortstop, and the shortstop bobbled the ball, and I think it might have been second or third. I don't know. He threw it over to the first baseman into the stands. So if you hit it at them, they will make an error for you. So you just got to keep at it and just keep hitting it, and they'll give you a couple extra base runners. And if you get it in after that, you've got a good shot of beating FSU at FSU. But their ace does have a 1.8 ERA, which is also very good. Anything under 2 is extremely good. Anything under 1 is you don't see much at all. You really don't. Like I said, if you can put pressure on FSU, you can beat them. They'll give you the extra base runners. And just like you saw, if you watch the ACC championship game Sunday, you saw that FSU will give you some extra base runners. But if FSU does have a lead after 6, they're 29-1, so you want to get that lead, late, because they're only 2-19. if they're trailing after 6. So if you can get that lead and have your bullpen shut them down, you got a good chance of beating FSU. South Alabama, those guys can hit. They can actually slug the ball. They've got 2 decent pitchers, so if those pitchers can get on and South Alabama hits for average, they're going to be hard to beat. Also, I can see 1 through 4 winning this regional. I mean, if you told me that, excuse me, Alabama State, who's at 4 seed in the regional, won this, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. If you told me Southern won it, wouldn't surprise me in the least. If you told me South Alabama won it, wouldn't surprise me in the least. If you told me Florida State won it, wouldn't surprise me in the least. It's just the field is so even there, it seems. And I just wouldn't surprise me. But South Alabama, once you get back in their bullpen, if you get in there, you should have a pretty good hitting day. Because their bullpen, from what I've seen, is nothing special. So Southern Miss fans, if you're what I'm trying to say, if you wanted the regional that was equal, there it is. The only downside about that regional is it's away from Hattiesburg. It's in Tallahassee. But I mean, who knows? I mean, Florida State can lose the first game, and you would have the number 4 seed, which is South Alabama, or Alabama State, excuse me. And from there, you can go right ahead and win that regional. But like I said, again, you would have to go to Florida. The only Mississippi team I can honestly see the only in-state of Mississippi team I can really see making a run into Omaha is Ole Miss. But then again, they have to go to Miami for their super regional, and Miami got the raw end of the deal in that one. Ole Miss got the raw end of the deal in that one. If I was a Miami fan, I would not be happy at all having to face the number 6 team in the nation at my place to get to Omaha, because they could easily beat you. But then again, Miami could easily beat Ole Miss too. That should be a pretty good series, I believe, if both make it that far. And we'll get into more super regionals next week after we see what the regionals do this weekend. And I don't know. I would love to meet the Mississippi teams. Have a chance to all make it to Omaha without playing each other until Omaha. And I think Ole Miss and State actually have a chance. The next time they would be able to meet is in the College World Series finals. What an atmosphere that would be, even if you didn't go to Omaha, just around the Mississippi area with all the fans and all that. If you think the rivalry is ugly now, let's put a title on the line and see how ugly it gets. If the baseball gods have a sense of humor, they will make that happen. They will let Ole Miss and State both make a run to the College World Series finals, and they will probably laugh at our the fans, how ugly it's got between the two fan bases. But I mean, it would be it would be fun. But anyway, I'm gonna take one more break, and we're gonna get into a few more things before I let y'all go, and I'll be right back. Peace.
Walk the plank.
Welcome back. Walk the plank. Just come at it live this this segment. I don't know if I don't remember. I don't think I did. Gave you the 1 through 8 seeds, but I'm gonna go over that real quick, and just in case if I did, well, you get it twice. Number 1 overall seed is Florida, which I don't think the SEC tournament mattered, like I said earlier in the show, except for one team, and that was LSU, because South Carolina went 0-2, and LSU jumped them. Even though Florida lost to Texas A&M, Florida remained the number 1 overall seed. Number 2 is Louisville. Number 3 is Miami. And here's why I don't think it mattered. Number 4 is Texas A&M. You win the SEC tournament, you finish 3rd overall in the SEC, but you're 4th overall national seed. I don't buy that. I think Texas A&M is the best team in the nation, and I think they will prove that this postseason. Number 5, Texas Tech. Like I said, I don't agree with that being a national seed, but I guess the committee wanted to give somebody else a national seed other than the ACC or SEC. But if you look at the top 25, majority of those teams are the SEC and ACC. So I don't know. I want the 8 best teams to get the 8 seeds, and not because you want it in a certain region or to spread the sport out. I mean, that's like saying, hey, let's put a hockey regional down in the South. Because Ole Miss has a team. I think Alabama has a hockey team. Let's put it down here, even though we probably don't deserve it. That's just dumb. Just dumb. Give it to the 8 best teams. give the host sites 16 best teams. I don't know. I can go on all day about that. Anyway, number 5, like I said, Texas Tech. Number 6, Mississippi State. You only got that low, Mississippi State, because, again, RPI. Number 7, Clemson. I don't think they deserved it, but they won the ACC tournament, so congrats to y'all. And number 8, LSU. But that's 8 national seeds, and the host sites are, and I've gone over this, I know I've gone over this, but the host sites are Virginia, outside the national seeds are Virginia, TCU, University of Louisiana Lafayette, FSU, North Carolina State, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Ole Miss. It means 7 teams out of the 16 came from the SEC. And I think 4, maybe 5 came from the ACC. 5 ACC. Because they both set records this year for the amount of host sites. The thing about SEC is they didn't have another team in the tournament. It was very top heavy. The top 7 teams were the best teams in that conference by far, and nobody else got in. But let's go to the Ole Miss Rebels. They received a letter of allegations back in January. And so from January until now, even, there have been all these rumors, and Ole Miss is getting the death penalty, or Ross Bjork's getting fired, Hugh Freeze is getting a show clause, his assistants are getting show clauses. None of that came true. None of it. They sent out, Ole Miss released the LOA in its entirety, and their response in its entirety this past Friday. I think it was 200 some odd pages response, and maybe 150 pages the LOA. And it might have been 500 pages response. That's what it keeps bringing in my head. I didn't look at it lately, so and maybe 500. It was a lot of pages to the LOA didn't have that many pages, but the response had a lot more pages than the LOA. It was a lot of level 1s, the Laramie Tunsil stuff. Level 1s that's not ongoing right now has already been taken care of. They were worked with the NCAA. The NCAA was there when all this went down, and he set out for 7 games. Done. Over. Not a get out of jail free pass. Not. He's already served his jail time. There was screenshots of a supposed text message draft night. If you look at the text messages, they're butchered. They're sloppy. They're blurry. That's the worst looking text I've ever seen in my life. And we've got smartphones, so I know that cannot be. It had to be altered. And I've seen those. I've talked about that on the show. I've seen those last summer. So if I've seen them, I'm pretty sure Ole Miss and the NCAA has seen them. Even though they say it's new information, I'm guessing they just want to look more into it. That's why it's new information. I don't know why they said that, but it's hard for me to believe that I've seen them, but Ole Miss and the NCAA has not. Ole Miss self-imposed means they gave themselves penalties. Now, whether the NCAA accepts that is a totally different story. But they self-imposed a suspension, recruiting suspension for 2 coaches. Didn't say which ones. I've got ideas, but I don't know. It's just my ideas, my assumptions. And you know what they say about assumptions. 11 scholarship reductions, a fine of $159,000. I cannot talk. Let me rephrase that. A fine of $159,325, and then 3-year probation. What I've heard on all of this, and I've talked to several people ever since this came out, and everything I've heard has been right. So I have no reason to doubt what I've heard from the people I've talked to. The NCAA has been working with Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been working with the NCAA. They've been there for 3-4 years. They've worked hand in hand. The NCAA knows about this. The NCAA has agreed to this. Now, just to make a statement, it may not be 11 or it may not be 9, which I've heard lately, but I'm going to stick with 11 is what they put in response. It may be up to 13 or 15, just so the NCAA can save face. That I would not be surprised. But I've also heard people tell me that no, it's 11. The NCAA's already agreed to it. It's just going to come out. And the way this is explained to me when I ask, like, I don't understand why it's not out already if it's been agreed to. Say you're in a court case. You've got the defendant, and you've got the defendant and the prosecution. And for whatever crime you committed, you get back chambers and you discuss a plea bargain. Plea bargain is not discussed in the courtroom. It's discussed in chambers outside of public view. And that's basically what Ole Miss has done with the NCAA. They've both agreed to these penalties, which Ole Miss is, quote unquote, self-imposed. And it will come out in due time that the NCAA will accept this. The only worry to me looking at this is the fact that Ole Miss has asked the NCAA for an extension to look into the new Laramie Tunsil deal, which means the text messages that I just referenced and also his admittance of being paid by coaches at Ole Miss. All this happened on draft night. I've heard nothing's going to come of it. So again, the people I talked to have not led me wrong yet. So I've got no reason not to trust them. And I don't care any rumor out there. I know who I can trust. I know who I can't. A former boss of mine used to always say, the one who seems to know the most in the room is usually the one that knows the least. And I'll leave it right there on those rumors that are started by certain people. I know the national media is all over Freeze and the Ole Miss program and Ross Bjork. But a lot of these people, or a lot of these reporters, and I'll use reporters loosely, they looked at the cover of the book and made a judgment. They have not read into the allegations. They have not read into the response. So you're going by what other people say, judging of the book, and making an assumption. I guess you can do that now in reporting. I don't know. I wouldn't. I like to research stuff before I talk about it. That way I kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about and not just going off a limb. That's one thing. Walk the plank. That's why I walk the plank. Anyway, I don't think Ole Miss is going to get much out of this. It's not going to be the death penalty like rival fans and rival reporters. I use the word reporters loosely. A lot of them are fanboys who spin the narrative of best for their team. That don't make it any less or any less true or whatever. But I don't think anything's going to cover this Ole Miss stuff. The new Laramie Tunsil stuff, like I said, even his attorney, Steve Faris, said, once this comes to light, the truth, it's much ado about nothing. That's his words, not mine. So, Ole Miss fans, State fans, Alabama fans, LSU fans, any other fans, wait till the actual things come out, the rulings, before you jump into conclusions, because everything right now, it's just hearsay. It's just hearsay. And it's hard for me to believe that somebody from outside the state and outside of Oxford really knows what's going on in its entirety. I really do. Ole Miss has been quiet on this for a reason, and we'll see what those reasons are here in the next 6 months to a year, depending how long this new Laramie Tunsil stuff drags out. But like I said, don't listen to any rumors. Don't believe everything you hear, because you know what to say, everything on the internet must be true, right? Don't be that guy. Don't. But anyway, also Malik Newman is deciding to transfer. I'm going to throw that in there also. I'm hearing, don't let me say that. I'll walk the plank myself. I would believe, again, assumption that without hearing anything from either side, Malik Newman would probably end up at Western Kentucky with former Mississippi State coach Richard Williams. He was an assistant at A&M until last year before, then accepted a head coaching job at Western Kentucky University. And I have a hunch that's where Malik's going to end up. But that's just me knowing where people are and knowing who Malik's dad is, Horatio Webster, and who he played under, Richard Williams, and just kind of putting 2 to 2 together. And I could be totally wrong. I could get 6 and be nowhere close to it. But anyway, that's it for another episode. Maybe another one this week. If not, see you again next week. Peace.